I'm glad that you're here. If you're a returned subscriber or if you're new, I'm doing a series right now that started at the 8th century BC, that is before Christ, or before the Common Era, and now we've made it to the 7th century. So if you're curious about where this all started, you can check out those previous videos. I'm gonna, as always, start a timer so I don't rant for too long. Let's get into this. Okay, so the 7th century is the period from 601 to 700. So in other words, the 600s, accordance with the Julian calendar. So I was watching a really cool Vsauce video, a great channel. It's like a kind of OG YouTube channel from I don't know, 10 to 15 years ago. They talked about the Julian calendar. He explained it, which, yeah, as it says here, if you hover over it, it has to do with the leap years. So every fourth year, you add an extra day so that your calendars don't get out of sync. And this was, of course, I think Julian is perhaps the Pope Julian, who instated the calendar in his realm. Okay, so moving on into the 7th century. Sorry about that rant. The spread of Islam and the Muslim conquests began with the unification by the Islamic prophet Muhammad, starting in 622. Let's see who that is. So Muhammad seems to be an Arab religious and political leader, and also the founder of Islam. So I think I've heard of Islam, of course. So Muhammad is the central prophet of this religion. It's a religion. It says spread of Islam, so it was spreading. I wonder when this religion was created. Islamic prophet starting in the year 622. So probably started around this time, 6th century. Is probably when this religion started. After Muhammad's death in 632, Islam expanded beyond the Arabian Peninsula under the Rashidun Caliphate. Okay, so the Rashidun Caliphate is consisted of the first 4 successive caliphs, which means successors. Okay. And the Umayyad Caliphate, which was the second caliphate established after the death of the Islamic prophet Muhammad. Okay. The Muslim conquest of Persia in the 7th century led to the downfall of the Sasanian Empire, which we read about in the previous century, which was an opposing force to the Byzantines or the Eastern Romans. Also conquering during the 7th century were Syria, Palestine, Armenia, Egypt, and North Africa. So a large swath of land was conquered and decolonized. I don't know if those are the right terms, but definitely conquered by the Muslims, Muslim caliphates. Okay, now we're moving on. The Byzantine Empire, which is also referred to as the Eastern Roman Empire. So if we say that, you can think about Eastern Rome, which was at this point in time split up between Eastern and Western, and the Western Roman Empire seems to have basically fallen sometime in the 5th century because of a sack, the sacking of like barbarian maybe we could call them like Germanic tribes that entered their empire. The Byzantine Empire suffered setbacks during the rapid expansion of the Caliphate and a mass incursion of Slavs in the Balkans, which reduced its territorial limit. The decisive victory at the Siege of Constantinople in 670s led to the empire to retain Asia Minor, which ensured the existence of the empire. In the Iberian Peninsula, the 7th century was known as the Siglo de Concilios, Century of Councils, referring to the Council of Toledo. What is that? From the 5th to the 7th century, about 30 synods, variously counted, were held at Toledo. What is synods? Don't even know what that word means. Okay, so the Iberian Peninsula, by the way, is Iberia, also known as Iberia, in southwestern Europe. It's the landmass by the Pyrenees, is separated by Europe by the Pyrenees. Okay, so it's this, it's this peninsula. I think that's where Spain and Portugal are located. Northumbria, which is a kingdom in what is now England, northern England and south England. So Northumbria established dominance in the British Isles from Mercia. Mercia is another one of the three Anglic kingdoms founded after the sub-Roman Britain was settled by Anglo-Saxons in an era called the Heptarchy, while the Lombards maintained its hold over most of Italy. So Italy at this point is no longer in Roman control. It is controlled by the Lombards. The Kingdom of the Lombards, also known as the Lombard Kingdom, was an early medieval state established by the Lombards, Germanic people on the Italian peninsula. In China, the Sui dynasty was replaced by the Tang dynasty, which set up its military bases from Korea to Central Asia. China began to reach its height. Silla allied itself with the Tang dynasty, subjugating Bakji and defeating Goguryeo to unite the Korean peninsula under one ruler. The Asuka period persisted in Japan throughout the 7th century. Harsha united northern India, which had reverted to small republics and states after the fall of the Gupta Empire. We have a picture here of the Eastern Hemisphere at the beginning of the 7th, and we have as well a picture of the empire at the end of the 7th. So in the beginning, it is quite amazing how much territory was annexed or conquered rather by the Arabs. It is massive. The tide of history, or the history changed in this century, and the major players completely changed. The Arab caliphs seem to have taken a large portion of the Middle East and Northern Africa, and setting the stage for what would be the 8th century, the topic of the next video. Stay tuned. See you guys on the next one.